Hi everybody, it's Madam Maddox and Yaz, hear me out. We are here today to talk to you about green flags.
So we're very familiar, many of us, we always talk about, not just us, but it's something that society covers red flags a lot.
Everybody has red flags.
Right, and instead of focusing on just the red flags in relationships or when you're out in the dating scene, we decided that we were going to talk about
some positives, some green flags, some things that people should pay attention to. I mean, one of the things that we find is that most people that we encounter has endured some type of trauma.
Absolutely, especially if you're you're getting in your later 30s and you've
in our 40s, and then approaching other decades.
I get it.
But everyone pretty much has had some type of trauma. Baggage. There's no matter where. I mean, even if you grew up in rural wherever, there were things that affected your life dramatically. These things tend to play out when you get into relationships. So the red flags are very prevalent. But we did want to talk about things that are healthy, positive to pay attention to and not shut people down over.
Yes, because we're just talking I tend to overanalyze a lot of things, and I have specific things in my head, and I can get not over judgmental, but I can honestly,
overthink it,
right. Or I'll immediately just be like, nope.
Yeah. They called me the light switch. It's either on or it's off. When it's off, it's cold.
It's not
when
intentional.
When it's on, it's very warm in there, like a nice fireplace.
Absolutely, not always intentional. It's just how your brain over time develops after, like you were saying, some situational things in our lives. And so instead of naturally just shutting people out, giving them opportunities to show you who they are.
Yeah.
And so some of the green flags, I'll start with the first one, and this is important to me, is self-confidence. Are you presenting yourself?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you presenting yourself in a way that suggests that you are confident in yourself? And for me, appearance is part of that.
Right.
So somebody who is confident is going to at least attempt to dress well and come to the date,
or to put in some effort.
Yeah, put some effort into. I really do believe that first impression is important.
Hygiene is part of self-confidence.
Yeah, hygiene.
Bathe. Wash your ass.
Wash
your ass. Smelling nice. Not that everyone has to wear cologne. Some people have sensitivities to lotions and scents and things like that. But you can't smell bad.
Those are things that definitely
can't smell bad.
To me,
brush your teeth.
Self-confidence.
Brush your teeth. Definitely. What going back to self-confidence, we're confident women, and we put a little bit of effort into our appearance, even if we're not even dressing up for anyone at all. So it does.
I dress up for me.
Yeah, I dress up for me too. So it's very appreciated when someone puts a little effort into it. Irons their shirt, keeps mends a button, brushes their teeth, combs their hair,
checks in the mirror,
cleans their fingernails
to make sure that
kind of thing.
Buttons aren't all crazy looking. Yeah.
For me, one of the big green flags is self-awareness. I try to be aware of situations, the people I'm around.
Oh yeah.
I try to be considerate, and I really appreciate the same courtesy extended to me. So if there's something that I'm not as comfortable with, or if we're on a first date and we're around my friends and you are just not even paying attention to the cues, being inappropriate, really turning everyone off. That's not fun.
I think social cues,
right.
and we're aware that there are different circumstances as to why someone may not pick up on social cues, and that's understandable.
There's all avenues of the spectrum.
Sure.
So maybe they don't have that ability, which first date would be.
However,
when you might find that out.
I do think that being able to read into to facial expressions, and you can generally tell if somebody's enjoying your conversation.
Absolutely. Or they're trailing off.
Right.
When I'm like, haha, that's so crazy, and I'm staring at you blankly, I'm probably not paying attention.
Right.
thinking about something else.
And just, keeping respect in mind, which is another thing that's on the list, is like, are they respectful? Are they being respectful of your space, your boundaries?
Right.
I think on a first date, it's a little presumptuous to assume that somebody would not hold your hand.
Oh, God, no.
Or
be touched by you.
Yeah.
Don't expect a kiss. And on a first date with me, don't expect to get laid.
Nope.
I don't know you.
That's how I feel. I think it's a little presumptuous, unless, like we said, obviously there are instances where you're just primarily attracted to somebody.
That's a whole different story when you have that movie scene moment and it's like, I want to keep your hands off each other and just rip each other's clothes apart. That doesn't happen that often.
It
doesn't happen that often.
If it does, yay.
Big yay. Big yay.
On the other flip side, if you're going out and you're meeting somebody for the first time,
you kind of want to play it smart. I would think, but it's treat someone how you would want them to treat your mother, your sister, your cousin, your daughter. Like, just be respectful.
Sure. And I say too,
if that is someone's mother, sister, cousin, daughter.
Consent. You can say, like, do you mind if I hold your hand or put my hand on you? Just not assuming anything.
And I know some people do have. So one of the things, like, I'm a very affectionate but not super clingy. I'm not clingy at all. I'm kind of anti-clingy. But I do not always appreciate when I attract people who have nervous tics, like where it's constant rubbing, which can be like an ADHD response. But I've had people that rub you out that doesn't even sound right.
I'll take it.
Okay, that rub you in the same spot consistently. I have tickle spots. If you're rubbing certain things, it's like, and once you tickle me, it's a wrap. Now I'm on edge because I'm expecting to get tickled and now I want to fight you. Be respectful, be mindful, be self-aware of the fact that somebody doesn't want you touching them the whole entire time. Especially
if they're doing little things, like if you're touching
if they're moving away, if she's not reciprocating, if she's not responding, if she keeps picking up your hand and moving it, she probably doesn't want you to touch her.
Right. So being that's self-awareness. Right. Is recognizing little small cues. Maybe that person doesn't want to offend you and say outright, please stop touching me. And maybe they're just not quite there yet comfortably.
If it's not your woman, you don't have a right to touch her body.
Right. So, I always say man, woman, whatever. Any kind of date scenario that you're on.
Exactly.
One of my things that I look for, I love humor and
absolutely.
So if you're able to have like fun and kind of be cheeky and have make light of situations.
Being playful. Life is so serious.
Yeah.
You don't want to go on a date or hang out with someone for it to be more serious. Yeah. It's serious enough already. We don't need that shit right here.
Like, take yourself seriously, but don't take the whole scenario seriously. Like, little things sometimes happen, especially when we're nervous. Maybe, I know I tend to overtalk sometimes, and I'll say things that are, it's not meant to be offensive, but it's just word vomit, or have like jittery hand moments, and I've knocked over whole glasses of water.
Oh wow!
I'm like just going out.
That's a good icebreaker.
But being able to laugh at yourself, laugh at a situation, and realize that we are human, and if somebody can look past your like little quirks and stuff, I think that's a good thing.
Right. And I think that also, like for me, when someone can reduce my stress load, being that there's so many factors, so many different things, so many responsibilities that I'm inundated with life that I've chosen to. Life is stressful enough already. If you can be my peace, I'm already my own peace, but if you can contribute to that peace versus being some stress, you're gonna have some more longevity and you're gonna get up to the top of the pile with me. And it's not easy to do because I don't always allow, part of my guards is I don't always allow people to help me de-stress. But if you organically kind of like,
make
a little
me
sweet
feel
spot,
comfortable,
and I'm like, I can relax. Now that's some good shit.
Yeah, and I actually literally just
I like to do that for other people. I just don't, it doesn't always feel
And I think that we were
comfortable
saying that naturally that comes for us, as people have told me many times in my life, and I'm sure you as well, that like they just feel naturally comfortable in our space, which is cool. And so I'm used to being that for other people.
Right.
However, one of the things that I was saying to you was, I had this conversation last night actually where one of the things that was interesting and attractive was that I had said, I have created my own safety at this point.
Right.
So I don't need anyone anymore. It's not to say I don't want a partner. It's that I don't need someone to come in, especially if you're going to disrupt my peace that I've created for myself. I would much rather.
Took a long time to get there.
Yeah, so I'd rather remain single than have anyone who. A relationship to me is not about having constant chaos. It should be a balance.
It has to be. It really has to be. I negate the chaos. So if you provide the chaos, then we're not going to work.
Right. And so our final green flag was feeling like the equality in the relationship. And that's what I was saying about, if I'm going to have somebody in my life, they're going to be my equal on most levels.
Right.
I mean, there's not always going to be a perfect balance, but somebody who is not feeling inferior, I'm not inferior to them, and is able to create that same level of peace in my life that I have created for myself.
Everything's not always 50-50. Sometimes it's 20-80, sometimes it's 30-70.
Right.
You volley back and forth, but you're still working towards the common goal, which is everyone being the best form of themselves.
And being able to communicate
and apart.
Yeah.
Together and apart. I mean, that's all I would really want for my partners, for them to be whole. I want me to be whole, so I'm already working on the me whole. It's kind of harder, I think, for people when they come and they're not whole to get with someone that is whole. So for me, that's been a big dichotomy. I can't, I'm pretty, I'm as close to whole as I have ever been.
I'm very comfortable with
as
who
close
I am.
to whole as I've ever been. So if you're coming in and you're only like a fraction, that's kind of up to you if you want to rise to the occasion. But it's not my job to minimize or require. Our journeys are different.
I would say though, for me, if I'm going to be with somebody, I would need them to be at least on a healing journey.
Right.
Somebody
or a little more evolved. At least interested in the process of growing.
Yes.
And expanding.
And letting go of past situations.
You have to. Moving forward. I'm not going backwards.
No, I don't think I've ever been.
I don't live in the past.
No, and I've never gone back to a relationship that once I'm done with a relationship.
I have in the past. I just don't currently do that anymore.
Yeah.
I have when I was younger. I had a bad history of that, but that is no longer the case.
I think that's what I was going to say is as I've matured, there's things that I changed about myself. And one of them was like, if the relationship didn't work, it didn't work for a reason.
Right.
Unless,
not repeating the same thing.
And unless both people have healed that wound or healed their situation, it will be the same going back to it. So
exactly.
For me,
senseless.
Yeah, I prefer to you can be my friend. We've talked about this. I look for people who are on the path of, like, I think there was on here they had it as like a greater purpose.
Right.
Meaning like, I recognize that we all have our situations, we all have our traumas, and I'm healing me, and I also want to give back to the world around me. That to me is important.
Part of your purpose, exactly.
Yeah. Having a bigger purpose than self is important to me.
I mean, everyone's calling is different, and not everyone's here to be
healer,
healer or servant or in a specific. But feeling purposeful, living a purposeful life.
Yes.
Going towards something. Just being a little hamster on the wheel doesn't work for me.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's important. We do need like the worker bees, the people who they're okay with their routine and they need that routine to function. Unfortunately, for me, that's
just not the case.
Not me.
It's very difficult to be with someone who is very driven and purposeful and feels motivated and inspired, and it's really not fair to try to dim their light. At the same time, it's not fair to the person who is more like, say, the worker bee, to force them to rise to something else that is not
However, you can still, and that's another dynamic of the green flags, is people who support each other in their roles. So regardless of what your purpose is and their purpose is, are you able to
meet in the middle?
Yeah, and be supportive of each other. That is something that
absolutely
I've experienced in the past, where the person felt inferior, and then it was when they didn't feel good about them, it became my fault.
Right? Yeah, been there too.
Yeah. So I want somebody. Being self-confident means that you're secure in who you are, and that your happiness has nothing to do with me.
Right.
I can help create like a safe and happy environment for you to evolve or continue to evolve in, but your happiness is ultimately your responsibility.
Absolutely. It's an individual journey.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think. We want to know what you guys think about this stuff. Like, share, subscribe. Always subscribe. Follow us. You can find us on almost every platform right now. And let us know what you think.
Literally.
We're all over the place now.